Wendy, turn around. Jack, get up and hug your wife. Now see, isn't that much nicer than fighting and swinging bats? If I'm going to spend the winter in this place with those two, we have got to figure out what is making them so bitchy. There's a dynamic to that relationship that goes far beyond Jack's past alcohol abuse and issues that Wendy has seemingly buried but not entirely forgiven him for. Here we see a marital decay under extreme pressure, even before it's amplified by the effects of isolation. In almost all their interactions, Jack simply comes off as someone who would rather be shot out of a human cannon right into the middle of a giant toilet that hasn't been flushed in 50 years than spend another minute with her, much less be cooped up in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. Wendy doesn't entirely trust Jack, and I think in the whole movie, there's only one scene with Jack and Danny together, which I'm sure Danny slinked away from even more terrified than before. Much of the time he's on his own anyways, riding his trike around the hotel or hanging around with his mother. Jack is volatile, arrogant, and emotionally withdrawn, while Wendy is anxious, differential, and visibly walking on eggshells. Their interactions are laced with tension that feels less like a typical marital discord and more like a festering prelude to something darker. Much of the core hostility between the two takes place in the same room, the Colorado lounge where Jack seems to be spending all his time in front of a typewriter. In one scene, he chows down on Wendy's head after she comes in to say hello. Now, maybe it's the 20th time that day she came in and interrupted him and he was at his boiling point anyways. But he just goes off on her and she's so stunned she can barely speak. The next time, Jack has a violent nightmare in which he chops up Wendy and Danny with an axe. His screams can be heard from the basement where Wendy was doing something with the hotel boiler, pushing buttons. She runs to his side, and a few seconds later, in walks Danny with bruises on his neck. She flips her shit on Jack, assuming it was he who did that. A third time, Wendy goes to tell Jack that she's leaving and taking Danny with her. He sneaks up behind her as she reads his manuscript, which looks to be about 900 pages of the same neatly typed sentence over and over. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. We're not sure if this phrase is in reference to the fact that he still wants to drink, and in not being able to, life sucks. Or does it mean that he's pissy because his wife refuses to have relations with him or even show affection towards him due to his past behavior? Or does it mean that he feels that Wendy trapped him into marriage by getting pregnant when he never wanted any of that? Probably a combination of all three, or other things as well. In any case, these are the words of a man who is not, shall we say, happy? They face off against each other, Jack mocking and taunting Wendy while she grips that bat and backs up towards the stairway. She finally grows a pair and starts swinging. At first maybe just to try to get Jack to back down a little bit, but once she makes that initial contact, she's like, bugger it. She winds up and gives him a smart one right across the head, sending him crashing back to the bottom of the stairs. These three scenes are essential in revealing how they really feel about each other. The fact that Jack sold his soul in exchange for booze and the agreement to kill his wife and kid are almost besides the point, as I'm pretty sure that if this hotel did not have a single ghost in it, no Lloyd the bartender, no Grady, and no dude in a bear costume performing oral sex, he wouldn't have needed much self-convincing that the only way to a nice drunken winter would be via a little murder. Then it would have been easy for him to take that snowcat down to Sidewinder, load up on booze, head back and party it up solo style with no one to nag him about it. Didn't need ghosts for that. But was their relationship salvageable? Were they going to drive me nuts for the entire winter? Or were they going to let me help them come to terms with their problems, face them down and put the past behind them once and for all and move forward with peace and harmony? Sitting them both on a couch and addressing each of their issues. To Jack, I'd say, I hear your frustration, feeling trapped, unheard, and pressured to be the provider while wrestling with inner demons. Your desire to write, to reclaim control over your life, that's valid. But when stress turns into rage, and when you start seeing your family as obstacles rather than allies, that's not strength. To Wendy, I'd say, you're carrying so much fear of Jack's temper, of failing Danny, of being alone in this frozen isolation. Your hypervigilance is a survival response, but it's also keeping you from connecting with the man you once loved. You deserve safety, absolutely, but you also deserve to voice your needs without walking on eggshells. Can you tell Jack what you need, not just what you're afraid of? I'm not sure how this would have played out. I might get each of them swinging bats and axes at me. But therapy's probably not going to fix this marriage anyways. Some couples aren't meant to be saved when two wounded people are reacting to the same storm in different lifeboats. This is why I just mind my own business. But at least I can go down to the Gold Ballroom, have a drink, and not have to worry about Lloyd and Grady bargaining for my soul. Because I'm not the caretaker. I'm just an innocent bystander. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and whatever else. And I will see you at the next slaughtering. Bye now.